Hi everybody, Pastor Tim, and this is the recap, rewind, and bonus features of the message we had here at Calvary in Pueblo on March 13th, 2022. Now we're looking through the book of Hebrews, and we were in chapter 7 last week. And chapter 7, basically, in a one-sentence summary, talks about how great Jesus Christ is as high priest compared to all of Aaron and the Levite priesthood, all of our human priesthood today, and Jesus is a lot like Melchizedek. The mystery of Melchizedek, the superiority of Melchizedek in the life of Abraham from Genesis 14, and what we see in Psalm 110, as well as in chapter 4 of Hebrews. Chapter 7 in Hebrews really sets the stage and says Jesus Christ is far superior to every human priest there has ever been and will be, because he is the ultimate, perfect high priest. All the other priesthoods are not perfect. And so why go to those priesthoods? Why go to sacrifices? Why go back to temple worship? Why even involve priests today? Because they're insignificant. They can't do what Jesus Christ himself has done. And we saw that in three different ways. We saw that, first of all, in verses 1 through 10, that talks about the greatness of Melchizedek. He's greater than any other human priest there ever was or will be. He's mysterious, and he is superior even to Abraham, the father of faith. We also saw in verse 11 through 19 that the Old Testament priesthood was weak compared to what Jesus is. The law was weak. The temple sacrifices were weak. They were insufficient. They were imperfect. They did not accomplish what Jesus accomplishes. Even the centuries and decades of doing all of the temple worship was nothing compared to the greatness of Jesus Christ. Nothing, including any priesthoods that we might invent today in Christianity, none of them compared to the greatness of Jesus Christ himself. And then we saw in the last verses 20 through 28, the perfect priesthood of Jesus Christ. Now we ended in looking at how amazing he is. And let me just read some of those verses because it's incredible. It says, "For it was indeed fitting that we should have such a high priest, holy, innocent, unstained, separated from sinners," meaning that he's not a sinner, "and exalted above the heavens. He has no need, like the other high priests, to offer sacrifices daily, first for their own sins and then for those of the people, since he did this once for all when he offered up himself. Only one sacrifice, and that's Jesus Christ. And all other sacrifices are done away with because they were imperfect. They were a picture of what Jesus would accomplish, but they were imperfect. They never forgave sin. They just simply covered it until Jesus offered himself as the great sacrifice. For the weaknesses of the law appointed men in their weaknesses as high priests, but the word of the oath, which came later than the law, appoints a son who has been made perfect forever." We ended that by looking at Psalm 103, verse 10, in which it says of God, "He does not deal with us according to our sin, or repay us according to our wrongdoing." And I think that's where it brings the reality of Jesus' sacrifice to us, is that he did so much more for us than we can possibly appreciate. Even if we're given an eternity of time, we're never going to understand the depth and gravity of how much he has done for us. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to have the sparks of it, moments of it, and we can have that even here in our worship and our praise and our living and our service, but we're never going to grasp how vitally big his sacrifice was. And I think that eternity is just going to be a time of deeper and deeper appreciation for that, and realizing he has not dealt with us in the way that we deserve, because he is a God of mercy, a God of compassion, a God of grace, and a God of loving kindness. That is what Hebrews 7 is telling us, that he is good to you as his child. So We're going to continue this coming week and look at Hebrews chapter 8. We're going to start that chapter. So I would encourage you, if you haven't listened to this sermon or the message or the entirety of the service, go back online, YouTube, Facebook, and our website, calvarypueblo.com, and you will find that service. Listen to it. The songs match the message perfectly. Logan did an incredible job making sure that this was one cohesive, solid encouragement for us from the worship and the message. And join us next week, either in person here in Pueblo, Colorado, or online at 10:30. Until then, God bless and bye.